My name's Christian Lee. I'm here for Earworm Digital, and we're here with
Joel Haver.
And Joel, how you doing today on this lovely day?
Doing pretty good. Gotta get going on some filming and editing, but beyond that, I've been having a pretty low and slow day so far. So yeah, can't complain.
All right, just tell me if you want me to leave that bad. Just tell me, like I'll go there.
No, not at all. No rush.
Okay, that's good. So let's start the interview pretty light then. First one, you've been in LA for a while now, and so I want to know who's your favorite billboard lawyer.
Billboard lawyer. That's a good question. I wish my memory remembered them more specifically, but I definitely can picture some. I can't tell you a name. I can't tell you a number. I can't even tell you a website, but I could tell you that I've seen them. And I've had friends who have been here for a while be like, oh, he's a classic. You know, people point them out. But the life of me, I can't remember a single guy I've seen.
Well, let me see if this name rings a bell for you. Sweet James.
Sweet James, I think that does ring a bell.
Sweet James is my favorite.
Maybe I've seen that on a highway or somewhere driving around.
Yeah, every time I drive around, I'm like, I see his billboard, and I'm like, dang, this almost makes a drive up to LA worth it.
Yeah,
almost.
Sweet James.
And also too, I mean, side note, I did come up to drive here. You know, a bit of traffic, but you know, what's new? And I'm just wondering, because you've lived here for a few years already, and I'm just like, how do you do it? How do you stand this place?
I think the people helped me stand it. I never thought I'd wind up in LA. I was living in my van and I bounced around the country, wound up in LA. Just passing through, I met Dax Flame for the first time and we shot a movie together, and I thought that was going to be my time in LA. But through making a movie with Dax, living in my van for like 2-3 weeks, camped outside his place, I met all my friends here, and this ever-expanding friend group kind of bestowed itself to me. And, you know, despite the traffic and the garbage and the noise, the people won me over, and I'm here for now. I don't think I'd buy a house here. I don't think I'd hang my hat here, but for now it's sitting comfortably on a table, ready to be picked up when I need to go. But yeah, I'm still here and enjoying it, and I think the people make it worthwhile.
Speaking of the people, I think, you know, the past few years you've definitely collaborated with a lot more people in LA. Yeah. And whose has been like the one that you've had the most fun working with, just collabing with?
Oh, that's tough. I don't know if I have more fun with one person than another, you know? I think everyone brings their own energy to a video. Everyone brings their own like sort of like sense of humor. And it's just a matter of like matching that energy and figuring out, you know, sometimes you'll do a very low and quiet collab with somebody, and sometimes you'll do the craziest character work where you're both screaming or doing whatever you need to do to get the video done. And I don't know if there's a favorite. There's a lot that I love working with, you know, meeting Churdleys, Chad, like he does a lot of fun videos that I've been a part of. Meeting Spencer, Blake. Blake does so many live shows, and I love being a part of those shows. I've never really done live stuff before, but he's kind of ushering me into this live performance era of my life, perhaps, where I just do some improv on stage and stuff like that. So that's a whole new ballpark. And, you know, having Trent out here. Trent wasn't out here initially, but I flew my friend Trent out, and now he lives here. And we're still making stuff all the time. And just the various people who come and go. There's dozens and dozens of like friends and people I make stuff with. And it's really hard to narrow down to one. I guess the most shocking would have been, like if you told me 2 years ago I'd be making a video with them, would be Tom Kenny. I made an animation with Tom Kenny, voice of SpongeBob. And that was a sort of crazy process I stumbled into. There he is. There's SpongeBob himself. And I sort of stumbled into that almost by accident. It just like one thing after another led to me making this animation for Hulu. And I got to cast whoever I wanted pretty much. And I was like, oh, can I get Tom Kenny? And it felt like I wouldn't be able to. And then suddenly they're like, yeah, we can do it. And becoming friends with him through that is even more surreal, because I've gone to his concerts, we've gone to some wrestling matches together. So So that's sort of a whole surreal side story of my life right now.
Quick side note: you gonna go to WrestleMania next weekend?
No, I'm not. Are you? Are you? Are you a big WrestleMania
I was thinking
head?
about it, but I'm just like, it might just be too much, you know. There's a lot going on that weekend too.
Yeah, my WrestleMania, like my wrestling in general experience is just luchador. I've only gone to
Okay.
luchador matches.
Well, there's a lot of good ones in LA too.
Yeah, yeah, that's what Tom Kenny has exposed me to. He's a huge fan and takes me to the good ones. So, and I bring all my friends, and yeah.
That's cool. And so, yeah, you said you work with Tom Kenny, but you've also worked with someone big too, and it's, I don't want to butcher the name, Bandai?
Yeah.
And you did a video to help promote Elden Ring, and how did that happen? Because that's crazy.
That was something they reached out to me about. It was kind of surreal. I was playing Dark Souls 3 when they emailed me, and I got this email about like, hey, you want to make a video for Elden Ring?
Mm-hmm.
And Dark Souls is one of the series that I've like always loved. You know, since Demon Souls, I've played Demon Souls when it came out, and I've always been a huge fan of that series. So kind of getting that email was surreal. And I haven't done at that point, and since then I haven't done any other sponsors. And I just don't want to like pollute my content with sponsor stuff. But that was one that I actually took a moment of pause. I'm like, oh, this would be really cool.
That's sick.
But I still laid out my terms. I was like, if I do this, I get to make whatever I want. I don't do an ad read. I don't like read a script you guys give me. I'm like, just let me make a fun animation.
Let me be me.
Let me be me, which I think is what sponsors in general should do. I think
yes.
it's stupid. No one watches the 60 to 90-second ad reads. Everyone skips ahead. I'm like, you guys are failing your marketing degrees or whoever. You guys need to actually start talking to creators and being like, okay, we're coming to you because you're good at what you do.
Yeah.
So do something about our thing in your style rather than just like, here's a side note, go back to your main thing. So I made an Elden Ring animation. And that was awesome. It did way better. I thought, like, I told them I could probably hit 1 million, and it wound up getting 6 million. It was one of the biggest videos on my channel, so that was a lot of fun. And I think they want to do something with me again in the future. Just depends on when they have something else. And that sort of opened up a few other potential like sponsor animations, but I'm always going to lay my terms at let me do whatever I want and accept what I want, you know, because I'm an artist. You're coming to me because you like my art. I think we sort of sell ourselves short as YouTubers sometimes, where we're like, oh yeah, I'll do this just for the money. Like, oh, I'll show for the money. It's like, no, you're an artist who's creating something. You know, if somebody came to a painter, which is a ridiculous thing, but if they came to commission a work from a painter, they wouldn't have say over it. They'd have maybe the subject, the content, but the style and whatever. They'd be asking for the painter to do that, not like, hey, do our thing amongst your thing. It's just like the way YouTube works right now is so contrary to treating people like artists, and I think we kind of need to change that.
No, very well said. Yeah, it's nice that you get sponsorships like that, because I do know one friend who I think he wanted to get a I think Ridge Wallet asked him to do a sponsorship, but then all they were just gonna give him a wallet, you know.
Yeah.
So.
There's a lot of that, especially when you're at a smaller scale. You get these really bad offers, like low balls. Like
I could tell.
$50, and everyone who signs up, you get another $20. Yeah, and it's just like that's not worth it because no one's gonna sign up because people don't click on these links. I mean, they must because people are still doing sponsors on YouTube, so there must be some spillover. But ultimately, I can't see it being that profitable for these companies. But yeah.
And so usually when I do interviews, I'm happy to interview you. But most of the time I interview musicians. But you actually do music yourself too.
Yes, I've very recently started taking music more seriously. I've always had a musical side of me and a part of my life that I'm like, I love music. I've always loved writing lyrics. I've always loved like working with my more musical friends to like compose a song. You know, I've done like musical scores for my movies that are all like a bunch of like rock songs and stuff that like I'm sort of behind the scenes like writing the lyrics and like composing and be like, oh, this here, but I've never had the technical know-how to do the music side of it myself. So this year I'm kind of getting more serious about that. I got this piano last year, practice every day. I'm writing a song every week this year.
Oh, wow.
song music and lyrics every week just to play on the piano to get me good at songwriting and good at like singing and playing at the same time. And beyond that, I want to eventually record more and release more and explore that side of myself more because I think I'm very used to filmmaking. I'm good and I know how to do what I do with filmmaking, but music is more uncharted territory, so it's kind of exciting again. It's like a new form for me to be a student in rather than just somebody who knows their stuff. I still have a lot to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about more of the side that you're more well versed in, and it is filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been making films since you were a teenager or even younger?
Even younger. I usually put the mark around 8 years old. I put it to a day when me and my friends grabbed my dad's like point and shoot camera and hit the video mode button and buried a garden hose and pretended we struck oil and like turned the hose on. Like that was the first video I remember making, and I never stopped. Like I always had a handy cam. I never shot on anything professional until college. I was always just like, and not even professional, not even a DSLR. I just shot on point and shoot cameras.
It's crazy.
And like bad audio. And that was kind of how I made for like 10 years before going to college and kind of getting a little more familiar with like audio equipment and nicer cameras and stuff like that. But still try to retain that same grab and go mentality that I had with my friends as a kid. Like not overthink, not overproduce, not overcomplicate, just do, and I anytime I stray away from that, I try to purposely take a step back towards it.
And what originally inspired you to pick up just a point and shoot camera? Was it like some films that inspired you, or just you just wanted to do something with your friends?
I'm trying to put a timeline to it because I know YouTube was eventually a huge inspiration, like 2005, 2006,
Dang.
when YouTube started, like, and then you saw Smosh and Ryan
the goats,
Higa, and like all those guys just doing really fun, stupid, silly stuff that you could do yourself. I think that's the biggest inspiration to our generation as far as
for sure,
what you can accomplish and what you can do. Because as much as like it's a dream to be a movie maker, like in the 90s, you watch Shawshank Redemption, you're like, oh man, if I could make a movie. But nowadays you see a video online, you're like, I can do that. There's nothing stopping me from, the barrier to entry is at the ground, that you could step over it, so I think that was probably what got me more and more serious about it. I can't say if I saw YouTube before I first grabbed a camera. It might have just been more influenced by like home movies and just acting and doing characters and skits with my friends anyways and being like, let's grab this thing that records it and record it. Yeah.
I think that's what I admire a lot about you is because I know early on you did a lot of films where it was just like, low budget, no budget, you just did your own way, you made do with what you got. And even, now too, you do have like that yearly thing you do, just like making a movie while the Oscars is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're just inspiring other people to do it too. It's nice.
Yeah, that's a huge thing for me. Just like showing people how possible it is nowadays. And that's why I haven't, since my channel took off, I haven't upgraded my equipment at all. This is the same camera, lens, screen, freaking lavaliers that I had since I had 100 subscribers,
Wow.
Like I haven't changed that. I want it to feel down to earth and relatable and in reach, This whole setup is nice. It's a nice camera, but everything will cost you $2,000, which is like I put it on a credit card at the time and was like in debt. So it's like if you bet on yourself and do that, I'm not going to encourage anyone to go into credit card debt, but if you bet on yourself, that's a relatively feasible bet. $2,000 is something you could make with a little, like maybe it's a little scary, but you can make a $2,000 bet on yourself if you're looking to make stuff with kind of more professional equipment. But I also encourage people to shoot on iPhones and shoot on what they have, because all of us have amazing cameras in our pocket now, and it can't go understated how powerful that is in freedom of creation.
And speaking about powerful too, I think one of the most powerful things in life is friendship. And we do have mutual friends, but I'm wondering, you think we could be friends?
I don't see why not. I think Let's call it friends here right now.
Well, one of your friends is leaving back home, so maybe I can take his spot.
Yes.
But
yes.
a thing I like to do for my friends is my love language is giving gifts. So I do have some gifts for you.
Mm-hmm.
And, I do know that you said that, I know in your second channel, you talked about your DVD collection at home.
Yep.
Well, I'm sorry. I have to add a little bit more. Hopefully you have room. But I have some vinyls for you.
Oh my god.
And, you do skits. You are also a budding musician. So I got you a Tenacious D record.
Amazing. Pick of Destiny. Yeah. I just watched this for the first time very recently. Like a year and a half ago, so not that recently. Time flies. Yeah, but yeah, it's something I never caught as a kid, but it's a fun movie. Kickapoo is a classic. Kickapoo is the one that they sampled the classical music in, right? Is that the? Yeah, I really like that one. And yeah, thank you so much. I'll make sure to throw it on the next vinyl player on my next record.
Or hang it on your wall, or some inspiration.
Yeah, I do have my walls sort of decorated now, so it's good to hang up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
But let's decorate a little bit more. The next few gifts are gifts that are personally some of my favorite movies, and I hope you enjoy them too. First one is Lost in Translation.
Oh, wow.
This is a soundtrack. Very good.
I've seen this movie, but it's so far out of my memory, I need to rewatch it. I saw it when I was probably 14 or something. And I remember really liking it. It has a really great atmosphere and sort of a sadness permeating the Bill Murray's character especially, but both of them. And I'd love to rewatch this, and this is a cool soundtrack to own, so thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is beautiful.
And the last one is a more recent movie, but one of, I think, my favorite in recent time. It is The Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse, yes.
That's crazy.
I really enjoyed The Lighthouse. It's nice to see something aesthetically distinct. Mm-hmm. I think we sort of have established the Hollywood aesthetic. We got it down to the science, and that's like anything from your Marvel movies to The Imitation Game. They all kind of look the same, you know, like these like dramas, these biopics, they all kind of have this aesthetic. So it's nice to see anything with some bigger names that actually takes some aesthetic risk, as well as some narrative risk. It's a very strange narrative. It's a very abstract narrative, and very hard to understand at times too, with the pirate speak or whatever they're doing, the sailor speak. But yeah, very, very fun, very cool. I'd have to listen to this. The soundtrack isn't coming to me, but I remember it being pretty dark. Pretty dark soundtrack.
Very haunting, very dark,
yeah. Well, thank you so much. They're lovely.
I'm glad.
Very cool.
All right.
My friend has a record player, so I'm going to take these over to listen to them sometime.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. All right. And now that we're friends, let me kick it up a notch. Let me ask you maybe questions only
friends can ask.
Friends can ask. First one is, you said, you've made music for a while. And I want to show you the video of one of maybe your earliest endeavors into music.
Yes. I'm curious what this will be. There's a number. Yeah,
this is a good one. And what was the context behind this?
So this is a birthday present to my mom. This was me, not even trying to sing well. She is a huge J.D. Souther fan. Uh-huh. J.D. Souther is a member, not an official member, but he was a writer for the Eagles. Oh, and he's my mom's favorite musician, and that's his like big hit, "You're Only Lonely." It's a really beautiful song, and one year for my mom's birthday, I sang that for her and sent her that video when I was living away at college, or it might have been after college. It might have been, I think it was probably 6 years ago or something, 5 years ago. But yeah, I did a couple of those little karaoke covers at one point in time where I just turned on the karaoke version of a song, sang it. And that was just for my mom, and I probably posted it on Facebook or something. I think that's probably where it is.
I don't know. Beats me. But I do have a gift, and maybe this could be for you. This could be for your mom, but it is J.D. Souther.
There you go. You're Only Lonely on CD.
Mm-hmm.
My mom would be ecstatic to know I even have this. I'm sure I'd be shocked if she didn't have it herself.
Play that in your van?
I do have a
CD
CD
player.
player in my
Perfect.
van, and I should have this in there. My mom would be happy to know I did. It'd bring her a great comfort to know I was listening to J.D. Souther and she rubbed off on me. But it's a really beautiful song. Strongly recommend You're Only Lonely. It's a nice song about loneliness and being there for somebody. It's a really beautiful song.
It's very beautiful. I've listened to it before.
Yeah.
But yeah, my question is it true during prom you wore a top hat and cane?
I did wear a top hat and cane during prom. It was
What was your idea behind that?
it wasn't prom. It was like sophomore dance or junior prom. So it would have been a prom still then. But I don't know. I think it was an attention thing. If I look at it innocently and nicely, it's like, oh, I wanted to dress eccentrically and have fun. And I got a top hat and cane just to be like different. And and I think the more like pessimistic, realistic side of me is like, oh, I probably would, as like a teenage boy, you want attention, you want to be seen as funny, or because there was two paths. You could blend in and be normal, or you could really stand out. And I feel like more and more, like sophomore, junior, senior year, I was always trying to stand out. At senior year especially, I was an eccentric dresser. I always wore shirts and ties, but really uncoordinated, like just like on purpose, like I'm just like plaid on like plaid and stuff like that in the wrong direction. And my top hat and cane was a good look. My mom helped me choose it out, and it was a classic. It was a classic look. I'd wear it again.
Yeah, maybe you should bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back.
Okay, and let's talk about another thing I think around high school was, you have a friend whose nickname is Big AIDS.
That is a funny story. Big AIDS was a nickname of my childhood best friend, who is now Aida.
And you've collaborated with them before on some of your songs?
Yeah, Aida's a beautiful songwriter, musician, guitar player, amazing at everything. Aida O'Brien, their album Girl in the Blue Dress is beautiful. It's an EP, 5 songs, but I drew the album cover for that. It's a really beautiful 5-song, and I strongly recommend it. But yeah, Aida used to go by Big AIDS in high school. That was just a goofy name that they picked up over time. And we said it was like how we referred to them for a while, and then I think they got over it. I think that
I think anyone would get over it.
They didn't want to go to college.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
It's just too much. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. And speak about them too. Did you also collaborate in the band The Revolvers?
No, I was like a sort of
a hype man.
Hype man. I think that was a good word for it. I was a hype man for the Revolvers. Aida was in the Revolvers at one point in time, and the Revolvers was my friend Brandon Brozik's little like classic rock band. They did a lot of covers and played at like the local fair. And they played at our high school once in some weird morning show. I don't know why. The news came to our high school and they were playing in the gymnasium before school. And I was just dancing around like a hype man in the background. But the Revolvers was a classic time. They would have, Brandon would have basement parties. He had a nice house and he would just like play shows in his basement, and we all just hung out and laughed. And Aida is like an expert improviser when it comes to music, especially in those like more intimate like settings where she could really be funny, and would improvise songs for like 20 minutes, just like made up songs. We'd like live text her the lyrics, and she would just like sing whatever we said.
Dang,
just
she's
like,
good.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, good memories.
Mm-hmm. And obviously I've seen some of your skits before. I think my favorite ones are the ones like the actress like in the olden times, just the way they talked. But my absolute favorite one is the Lanky Kong one.
Yeah.
Dude, that one's so good. But believe it or not, you're not the only one that does YouTube in the family. And I'm wondering though, have you ever helped your brother or your mom? Have you seen any of their stuff on YouTube? Have you helped them with that?
My brother hasn't done it in a while. He used to do more like spiritual coaching guru stuff on YouTube.
Shout out to Zebra.
Zebra, he goes by Zebra. But he kind of moved on from the coaching side of things, and now he's kind of more inward and writing a book. And my mom, she's been doing TikTok and YouTube. And
dude, one day her shorts are going to pop off.
Yeah, her shorts are going to pop off. Some of them are pretty funny. Some of them are different. I think she and my stepdad do some more of that middle age, like, you know, sexy thing that like some couples fall into, which is like, as a son, it's like, oh, you just shrug it off and see it. You're like, oh, okay, it is what it is. Good for them. But she's definitely always pitching me ideas she has for like her stuff. So I think she's found a sort of comfort in just making stuff, which is cool. She always does videos of my cats, which she now has custody of until I find a calmer place to live. And videos of just random stuff. But yeah, my mom's never been anything but a great supporter of me, and
she's been in some of your videos.
Yeah, she's been in some of my videos, and she's great in them. And she's I'm happy to see her making stuff. She loves writing songs too. She's written some really pretty songs, and it's something she's really good at.
Yeah. Cool. And then thank you for taking time for doing this interview. It's been a lot of fun. But I think everyone needs to know, when is the next P tweet coming out?
The P tweet is in a stasis right now. There's some drama going on with the P tweet. It's perhaps a parallel universe to my own life, because in the P tweet universe, I am in a coma and an AI has taken over. And in real life, I am not. So there's a disconnect there. But the P tweet is, I wish is like the thing I said about having friends. I wish I devoted more time to that. But I'm like, realistically, I'm like, I gotta focus on my channel and these other passions. That was like a fun side project
That's so fun.
I'll like once a month drip feed something for, and eventually I'll build to actually furthering the story, or maybe just shutting it down. We'll see where I'm going. But yeah, it started off with me just tweeting. I'm workshopping a tweet about P, and I just did that as a joke. But I'm like, I'm gonna take this too far, and I took it too far.
You did take it too far.
Yeah, and it just kept going. And I love having my other social media not be just like a place to advertise my YouTube.
Dude, I love your Instagram. Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
I just don't want to have to check it, and I already look at social media too much. And actually, this week I finally am like setting time limits on the apps and backing off.
Very nice.
And but like I need to do that, and not having a reason to post is a good reason not to be on social media. Like, if I only post when I eat pasta, then I don't need to use Instagram ever.
It's true.
And if I only post on Twitter about pee, I don't need to tweet something or get in some argument on Twitter or read too much into something or respond to every mention of me. It's like I could just sort of let those things exist in this comfortable little side bubble in my brain that isn't a part of the exhaustion of existence. So that's why the P tweet exists in a more deeper sense, but it also exists because it's dumb and funny.
Yeah. Amen to that. Well, before we turn off the camera, though, the rest of the time is all you. What do you want to say? You could say anything. You can plug your social media if you want, if you need to. A message. What do you have? What do you have to say?
I don't know if I have anything in particular to say. I feel like I talk on end about inspiration regarding creating stuff. I do think creating is a really beautiful act, and it doesn't have to be labor intensive. It doesn't have to be expensive. I think one of the best things I ever did was in a really sort of like low time in my life. I wrote a poem every night just on my notes app. I wrote a poem every night. That's something anyone can do. Do a doodle every day. I don't need, hum yourself a song, make up a song. You don't even need to know the music to it. Just like sing it. I feel like there's a lot of little ways we could be creative. I just watched a really beautiful movie named Ikaru by Kurosawa. It's like an old Japanese film, and it has a really beautiful message about, rather than trying to like rationalize life as like, this is my time to work and slave away and this is my time to be creative. It kind of has a message of like, find ways to be creative in all walks. I don't want to spoil the movie because it's a very good movie, but it's a really beautiful message about like, you can be creative in your day-to-day life. It's just about being numb versus being like active, and an active participant and an active encourager of those around you to be more active, I think, is a simple way to put it. Find ways to be creative.
Oh, that's a wrap.
Well, thank you so much,
You're
Christian.
welcome.
This was a great interview. It was very fun.
Thank
You
you.
really had a lot of fun little curveballs, and
I try.
you had some great gifts. This is so nice of you. Thank you. Little butt on the cover here. Tenacious D, the pick of destiny.
Right.